Welcome back to another video. I'm going to show you guys how to make this strawberry cheesecake inspired sourdough loaf. If there's any recipe you need to make, it is going to be this one. It is so good and it's not too sweet. So let me show you how I did it. So you're going to add 50 grams of this strawberry nesquick powder onto your bowl, and we're going to add 100 grams of warm water to dissolve the powder. Then we're going to mix everything together until everything is dissolved, and we're going to add 150 grams of active sourdough starter. After that, you're going to add an additional 250 grams of water, and then we're going to mix everything together. So now we're going to add 25 grams of granulated sugar and mix everything together again. I am going to leave this recipe in the description down below for you guys, just in case you guys need it. So now we add 500 grams of bread flour, and then we add 10 grams of salt. This is going to be all the ingredients, and we mix everything together until everything is well incorporated when we see no more pockets of flour. And I actually remembered halfway that I have a dough whisk, you guys. If you guys have seen my last videos, I was actually asking for recommendations for dough whisk, and I found a whole sourdough kit on Amazon from Abioto, and it's so amazing. I'll link it down below for you guys in the description. So for the inclusions, I'm going to add freeze-dried strawberries, crushed graham crackers, and these Hershey's cream cheese chips. Did you guys know these existed? Because I just found them at the store and I just had to use them. So after an hour after mixing our dough, we're going to add our inclusions into the dough before each stretch and fold. So I add the graham crackers, the cream cheese chips, and the freeze-dried strawberries, and then I do my first stretch and fold. So I go ahead and stretch the dough. I don't measure anything, and then I add the same things again, and then I stretch the dough a second time, and then I repeat this step 2 more times. So we only add the inclusions on the first set. So after finishing our first set of stretch and folds, we are going to wait 30 minutes, and then we're going to start on our second set of stretch and folds. On the second set, we won't add any more inclusions. We are just going to stretch the dough 4 times going around the bowl, and then we're going to cover our dough again and let it sit for another 30 minutes and do our third set of stretch and folds. So you can go ahead and do 4 sets, but I usually do 3 and it turns out fine. So after the third set, I ended up bulk fermenting my dough on the counter for a few hours. And once it was ready, I shaped the dough, adding a few more inclusions in the middle. You guys, this sourdough loaf was so delicious. It is not overly sweet, although it has all these inclusions in it. I promise it's literally perfection. So once your dough has doubled in size, is jiggly, it has a lot of air bubbles, isn't overly sticky, you can go ahead and start to shape your dough. So I added my dough onto this Abioto mat that came in with the kit that I was mentioning earlier. I like this mat so much because it is nice and thick compared to the one that I had in the last video. It was moving everywhere and I just couldn't really shape my dough properly. So here I stretched out my dough, not overly stretching it so it's not so thin so the inclusions don't rip the dough. And I added the inclusions again in the middle, crushing the strawberries a little bit so I didn't have really big chunks. You can add less inclusions or not even any at all, since we did add some to the stretch and fold process, but I just wanted that extra pop of flavor because sometimes I feel like the inclusions get lost in the dough during baking. So here I'm just going to close up my dough gently. I did add a little bit of flour onto my dough because it was a little bit on the sticky side since it has the sugar and the Nesquik. So if your dough is a little bit sticky like mine, just go ahead and use a little bit of flour and then it's so much easier to manage. See how my mat didn't move at all during this step like in the last video? So I just go ahead and pinch the edges of my dough to secure all the inclusions inside. And then I added onto this Abioto oval shaped banneton that I love to use for when I have inclusions that I want spread out evenly. I don't know, I just feel like I can see the inclusion better. So I leave my dough overnight in the refrigerator, and when I took it out this morning, it was so big. Look at this dough. So I put it on my Abioto bread sling and I preheat my oven to 450 degrees. And once it's preheated with my Dutch oven in there, I go ahead and score my dough. I just did a line across the dough, nothing too crazy. And I bake this loaf at 450 degrees for 30 minutes with the Dutch oven lid on. And then I take the lid off for literally about 3 minutes because this dough gets dark real fast. So keep an eye on it. And this is the end result. This loaf of bread is so, so good, you guys. I really hope you guys give this recipe a try and let me know how you like it. And here is the crumb reveal. I love how the inclusions are well distributed throughout the loaf, and I just love this loaf so much. I am going to leave the link in the description down below of the sourdough kit that I used that I absolutely love, and you guys will too on your sourdough journey. I hope you enjoyed today's video and let me know what you'd like to see next. Bye!